Hey everybody, this is Coach Powell. I am on my way to pick up my kid. Unfortunately, she's getting off a little early, so I'm going to start this broadcast a little early. I didn't want to do this while I was driving, but I see that that's what I got to do. So it's kind of like that. It is now 3:06. I'm a couple minutes late. We're going to get this party started. What we're talking about today is really simple. We're talking about follow-up and follow-through. Why you need to do it, why it's important, what are the steps you need to be taking no matter what you're trying to do. Now, first of all, let me explain to you quite quickly that I am a relationship coach. I help individuals, specifically small business owners, get into the right kinds of business relationships. I teach them all the mechanics of how to do this, and this is very, very important. So the techniques I'm talking to you about are not going to be sales techniques. They're not going to be quick fix techniques. They're not going to be transaction-based techniques. They're going to be relationship-based techniques. So now, what can you get out of relationships? Relationships are critically important to all of our success. Most of all, it's that feeling that we're doing something meaningful. We are meaningful. We are valuable to other people that we interact with and come in contact with. That's how we as human beings understand our relative position in the universe and in this world. And it's very, very important to know how to do this really, really well. Unfortunately, most of us don't know how to do this really well. And we suffer as a result of it. And that's unfortunate because no one should really have to suffer just because they don't know how to do relationships pretty well. Well, here's the deal. I wrote this process called the 9 Steps to Mastery, which is the 9 steps to relationship building, from when you initially want to get into a relationship all the way through to you invited somebody maybe on your advisory council, or you're really, really close and you're doing a lot together as a team on a relationship. The third step of that process is what we're going to talk about today. It's called follow up and follow through. Now, there's 2 phases to follow up and follow through that are critical to your success. When you are following up and you're following through, the first thing you want to do is make sure you understand the mechanics of all of this. Follow-up does one thing, and follow-through does something totally different. Follow-up is an initiator. It's what you do to initiate a potential relationship. You want to follow up as soon as possible. That's how you let people know that you're interested. That's how you let people know that you want to be in a relationship with them. That's how you let people know where you want to go with this relationship. You're going to do that in the follow-up phase. And then you're going to move into the follow-through phase. The follow-through is what you do continuously to maintain the relationship and move the relationship to a higher level no matter what happens. And you want to have systems in place to do both of these things. You want to have your email systems in place, your text messaging systems in place, your Facebook Live systems in place. Whatever systems you use to create follow-up and follow-through, you want to have them already in place, and you want to have pre-scripted ideas about how you want to move through this. There's no system without some kind of pre-scripted format that you want to think through. A lot of people say, well, I just want to wing it. That's fine. But I want you to understand that if you're talking about a relationship that you want to be in and you want to be involved with and you want to do it in a meaningful, powerful way, you cannot afford to simply wing it. You can't afford to be in a position where you appear not to know what you want, or not to know what you're talking about, or not to know what's going on in the situation. So this is where emotional intelligence is going to really play a high role in what you do. Because you have to know what you bring to the table right up front. People ask me all the time, well, what do you mean by what do I bring to the table? You have skills, you have talents, you have abilities. These skills and these talents and these abilities are attractive to some people. You just have to know who those skills and abilities most likely will be attracted to. For instance, I pride myself on being a pretty good listener. There's been some challenges to that lately, so I'm not going to say I'm a phenomenal listener. I used to say that. But now I say, I'm a pretty good listener. I'm pretty good at determining what people are saying, why they're saying what they're saying, what's behind what they're saying. And I'm so good at it, when people talk to me, they generally feel understood really quickly. They feel like they've got somebody in their corner. They feel like they got somebody that's interested in them. They feel like they've got people who are going to pay attention to them. Not what they want to pay attention to, but what's actually happening with them. That is critically important. If you don't know what you bring to the table, then you don't know what you're offering to people, and you don't know what people are attracted to when it comes to you. So you have to really figure it out. Do that analysis, do that all kinds of good stuff. One of the tests, or one of the tools that we have available, that we try to make people available, is a tool called TrueVOICE. TrueVOICE is 16 questions that you can ask yourself and ask other people. And there's a lot of ways you can use the TrueVOICE interview questions. And I'll send anybody who wants it. If you send me an instant message or whatever, I'll send it to you so you can get an idea of what it's all about. But it's really all about you finding that true voice, finding where your voice is clear and concise and is meaningful and passionate and powerful, and where the voice of others show up. And these questions are a way you can show interest in other people, so you can use them as an interview. These questions are a way you can analyze yourself, so you can use them as a tool to begin to ask yourself, how you're doing with these things and where you are. But it's a good litmus test for your idea of what you think your voice might be, what your mission might be, what your calling might be, what your passions might be aligned to. And that gives you an idea of an understanding of what your gifts might be, and that allows you the language that you need to articulate them fairly quickly, because you have to be quick about this. You can't be in a situation where you're having relationship talk and you're hesitant, or you don't know what you're bringing to the table, or you don't know what you really want to do with this person. It really sucks when that happens. And you don't want that to happen. You want everybody to be clear about what you want. You want everybody to be clear about what you can give, about what you're willing to make investments on, and what you're willing to say. That's the follow-up part of relationship. The next part of relationship is follow through. Once you've established that you want to be in a relationship together, and that relationship has some kind of meaning to you both, and you know what that meaning is, and you articulate what that meaning is all about, now you're ready to follow through. Now you're ready to consistently do things that give you deeper and more meaningful understanding of each other, that consistently do. So whatever messages that you send, whatever opportunities that you yet have to interact, you need to be on point with those. Those kinds of things have to create what we call engagement. Engagement is critical. And it's not just, no, we're going to get married. It's the anticipation of where your relationship is going to go. If you can't create anticipation with people, then you really can't create interest. You can't create possibility. You can't create hope. You can't bring anything credible to the table that measures whether their hope and their faith in you is actually a useful or meaningful hope. And here is where you start to get into what I call understanding optimism. Optimism is a key to all human success. If we don't have optimism, then we feel like failures. And it's really simple. You've got to have an understanding of how the conditions of optimism work if you're going to create those conditions within a relationship. But let's drop back for a second. Why should you want to be optimistic in a relationship? It might seem clear to you of what you're optimistic of in a relationship, but you want those things to be clear to both parties in a relationship, not just to you. You may think, well, here's what I know. I know what I want in a relationship. I know what I want in a business relationship, or a professional relationship, or any type of relationship where I want somebody to be on my board of advisors, or I want somebody to be my mentor or my protege. Whatever it is, you may have an idea in your mind about what you want. The question is, do you also have an idea of what the other person has to bring to the table and why they should be optimistic about this relationship? So there's kind of 6 keys I want to talk to you about when it comes to optimism. And I have a wonderful little chart that I created. So for those of you who can see that, I know it's probably backwards on the video, but here it is. Optimism is made up of 2 things. It's made up of hope, and it's made up of confidence. You have to have both of these things in order to have optimism. Now, there's 6 different key areas of optimism, but in general, hope and confidence is what it's all about. You're moving people from a confidence level where they have more objective, or what we call pragmatic ideals, to a higher level of optimism, or a higher level where they have even idealistic views. And all of these ideas have to come together. Here are the ideas. 1, they have to have possibility. They have to believe that it's possible for something special to happen in this relationship. Next, they have to have anticipation. They have to want to be in this relationship. They have to expect something. They have to be wanting to move forward. They have to have some kind of meaningful expectation of this relationship in order for them to be interested, in order for them to carry forward on whatever they're going to say or do. And they have to have desire. They have to really, really want this thing. If there's no anticipation, if there's no possibility, if there's no desire, well, then you don't have hope. Hope is incredibly important when it comes to creating optimism in a relationship. You want a relationship to be hopeful. You want there to be something to look forward to. You want there to be something to believe in this relationship. If not, then the relationship doesn't have enough emotional content. It doesn't have enough emotional relevance in order to move forward. If you have a relationship that's totally based on just logic, that's totally based on, well, we should be together because we fit the right prototype or whatever that is, there's no excitement to that thing. There's just, woulda, coulda, shoulda. It's very difficult to arrive at hope and belief and faith from just logic alone. You're going to have that emotional content. You're going to have to create desire, anticipation, and possibility. The next thing you want to do with any type of professional relationship is you got to have the confidence. Now, we confuse confidence all the time with its close cousin, competence. Because when somebody have confidence in us, they pretty much believe in our competence in some area or some relative point of view. This is something that I think that we got to sort of straighten out, because real confidence when it comes to optimism requires 3 key ideas, and I'm going to read them off to you right now. Number 1, you got to have conviction. It's impossible to have confidence without the conviction, meaning you stand for this. You know you stand for this. That's how that is. If you're competent about something and you stand for it, you know what it's all about, people can have a higher level of confidence in you. Next thing, sureness. You got to be able to know you know and know that you know. If you don't know that you know, you're not sure. And how are you going to convey that you're confident in something if you're not sure about it? This is a problem. People get in relationships all the time and there's no surety. And then when the relationship falls apart, then pessimism kicks in and they realize, oh, you see, I shouldn't have did that in the first place. And now what's worse about all of it is they are now gun shy. They don't feel like they can get into professional relationships because they don't know, they've been burned. They got baggage. They don't know how to move forward in the next relationship. And that's critical, especially when you're talking about business and trying to figure out how to make business happen. The last part of creating confidence in a relationship is intimacy. I can't stress more how important it is to be good at and feel comfortable with that word. Intimacy is simply closeness. It's your ability to feel connected to another person, another idea, another concept, something that you feel is a part of you. If you can't create that, if you can't begin to move in that direction where you've created that type of intimacy that needs to be, your relationship is going to be on some shaky waters. It's not really going to be able to withstand the tough times when it comes down to relationships. So we have 2 sexual relationships and 6 phases that create the conditions that a relationship has to happen. But what does this have to do with follow-up and follow-through? If your intention is to create a strong relationship, you must have optimism at the core of that relationship. Optimism becomes the glue that binds your relationship and makes it actually work. It makes it actually function well. When you feel like a relationship is not working, I guarantee you can look at one of these 6 areas and find the damage. Maybe there was no more possibility in the relationship and somebody felt like there was no more possibility, or someone didn't anticipate even seeing the person or being together or having the meeting with the other person. There's no conviction in that, this person is on my team, this person will stand by me, this person is loyal. There's no sureness in that this person knows something that I know that they know, and we could benefit from this, and we all are confident in that. And there's no intimacy and there's no desire. When these things don't work really well, it really sucks to try to be in a relationship with a person. And you want to make sure that you've mastered all these concepts and these ideas, and you know what you bring to the table. You know what your optimism is all about. You know where you can be counted for and counted upon, and where you can leave some level of credibility. Other than that, if you ask someone to be in a relationship with you, you're asking them to be in a broken relationship from the beginning. And you don't ever want to have that happen, because that tears apart your business opportunities, that tears apart the possibilities for the relationship. Okay, so what else do you want to know about follow-up and follow-through? Very important when you're talking about follow-through. Again, I always talked about the fact that you have to have systems, and these systems have to be good. But I'm going to give you some of the big ideas that I share in our training when we talk about follow-up and follow-through. Big idea number one, commitment rules. Nobody wants to be in a relationship where there's no commitment. Commitment to what? I don't care what commitment to. You have to be committed to something, and you have to be brilliantly articulate about what there is in terms of that commitment. You have to be prepared to be in a relationship. If you're in a professional relationship and you're unprepared, say you want somebody to be your mentor, and you're like, okay, I want you to mentor me, and you don't know what you want them to mentor you on specifically, then you're setting that mentor relationship up for failure. Maybe they're not even good enough to mentor you, and you're asking them to be your mentor when you really should be asking them to be your advisor or your consultant, or maybe even your therapist. So you have to really be thinking through, what do you want, and prepare. What do you really want for the relationship, and again, what you bring to the table. Number three, another big idea. Fair is not equal. You cannot treat every relationship the same. It's very, very important. If you're trying to treat every relationship the same, what you're going to do is be unfair to most people that you're in a relationship with. You can't treat everybody the same. You can't talk to everybody the same. Everybody doesn't have the same triggers. You have to focus on what you're really bringing to the table and what's really going to make that relationship sustainable over time. And the relationship, in order to be sustainable over time, must be growing. There must be something that you're doing together, connecting together, that keeps the relationship moving forward. Growth is moving forward in a relationship. The next part of the next big idea I want to talk to you about is taking charge of expectations. And I mean by that is taking responsibility for laying out expectations and being clear about the expectations that are being laid out to you. If you cannot lay out your own expectations or be clear about what the other person is expecting, you cannot take responsibility for it. If you don't take responsibility for those expectations and people blame you for doing something that damages a relationship, it is exactly your fault. It's not their fault, it's your fault. And you have to take responsibility. Now, responsibility, authority go hand in hand. These two ideas go hand in hand with being empowered to do something in a relationship. If you're in a relationship where you don't have responsibility and you don't have authority to take control and do what needs to be done to create opportunities within the relationship, then you're in a horrible relationship. You can forget it. You don't know what to expect. You don't know whatever. And now, another thing I want to mention in big ideas: if it hurts, stop doing it. If you find yourself in a relationship with somebody, some professional relationship, and they're damaging you, say it's a boss who's continually abusing you and is not giving you an opportunity to be understood and doesn't care that you really understand them, they just want you to do what they want you to do, that's an abusive relationship. And that's going to set you up not just for failure, but it's going to set you up for emotional damage in the future. And it might even cause you to accept or tolerate being abused, which may even help you pass that abuse on to someone else. So you're going to be very careful about what's painful and what's not in any professional relationship. You want to make sure if it hurts, stop doing it. And the last thing I want to mention when it comes to big ideas is act exactly like you care. Do not fake relationships. You can't do it. You have to act exactly like you actually care. And what I mean by that, I'm not talking about fake it till you make it. I'm talking about find out what you love about this person. Find out what you like about this person. Find out what you enjoy in this person. Make them aware that you enjoy it, you appreciate it, you're interested in it. It makes you tick, something that's exciting to you about it. And if you don't know how to do that, you can't figure that out, I suggest you read a report that we created called The Rap Report, The Rap Approach. The Rap Approach is something I created because I realized that people have a hard time expressing their feelings and their emotions, and they don't do well at it, especially in America and in the Western societies. We tend to be individualistic, and we tend to be loners in a lot of different ways, and it ends up hurting and damaging the possibility of creating great teams, creating great relationships, doing things you have to do with people to move forward. So the RAP approach is an acronym. It stands for respect, affection, and praise. You have to be willing to share with people the things that you respect about them, why you care about them, and publicly praise them for the things that you can and should publicly praise them for. Give them the credit where credit is due. Give them their flowers while they live. That's all I have to say today about learning to follow up and follow through in relationships in a meaningful, powerful way. Hopefully you got something out of the content. If not, I apologize. If so, let me know. Hit me up. If there's some questions you have about your follow-up strategy, about your follow-through strategy, and what you should be doing differently. And by the way, if you recognize, these rules work for personal relationships as well as professional relationships. There is no such differentiator between the two. It's all personal. Especially if we're talking about small business, or we're talking about mentoring, or we're talking about counseling or advising. All of that is very, very personal, and you have to treat it as such. You don't bring that it's just business idea into professional relationships. Okay, guys, that's all I got to say about that. I hope you have a great day. If you have questions, hit me up at the hashtag 9StepGuru about anything, and I'll be more than happy to get with you on that. If you want to get that instant message from me about the TrueVOICE process, I'll be more than happy to send it to you. So hit me an instant message, and when I get back to my office or when I'm relaxing, I'll fire it out to as many of you as possible. But I'm always interested in your feedback. I'm always interested in your comments. So if you have some, please deliver them. Leave them right there in the comment section. That'll make me feel good, like I'm not wasting my time. And other than that, I gotta bounce. Say peace to the people. Peace. Bye, y'all.